take their seats. Good morning, good morning. What a beautiful morning here at Highland Hills. Well, my name is Michaela Eacock, and I'm the Director of Advancement here at Progress Valley. We want to thank everybody for being here this morning to support us, and it's just truly wonderful to see so many of you gathered here at our annual Inspire Hope Breakfast. Before we dive into the program, I really want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Highland Hills Ski Chalet for hosting us once again in this absolutely beautiful space, and for the delicious breakfast that we're enjoying as well. I do have to go over a few quick housekeeping items. So if you have not already, please feel free to help yourself to the breakfast buffet and the beverages, coffee, iced tea, water. And then, most importantly for me anyway, is where the restrooms are. And they are just beyond the welcome table, right kind of in the corner over there. On your tables, you're going to see a tent card with two different sides. One highlights ways to give and the impact your support has on Progress Valley. And the other lists some exciting upcoming events that we're very proud to be part of. Speaking of events, October is another big month for us. Not only is it my birthday, I'm just saying, it's also a time where Progress Valley has been selected as the Mall of America Pond Fund recipient. And so we encourage you to stop by the Mall of America and toss your spare change into the pond. It's a fun and meaningful way to support our mission. We're also thrilled to be participating in the St. Louis County Health and Human Services Conference, as well as the March Conference in October. We have multiple staff members presenting at both conferences, which is the first time in a few years, so this is very exciting. And then looking ahead to November, we have an exhibitor table at the annual NAMI conference, and we're also gearing up for Give to the Max Day on November 20th. If you're not already on our email list and would like to stay in the loop, please feel free to connect with me this morning, or you can always shoot me an email. I promise we keep it light, just a few updates throughout the month on ways you can engage with us here at Progress Valley. With that, unless I have forgotten anything, which is very much entirely possible, we're going to get started with our amazing program. I have the honor of introducing our board president, Erica Miller, who will kick things off with a few words.
Good morning, everyone. I'm thankful to be here with you today. We appreciate you joining us for our annual fundraising breakfast. As president of the board of directors, it is my honor to welcome you, and I am hopeful that your presence here today signifies your desire to learn more about Progress Valley and/or the belief in our mission, and we're truly grateful to you. Today is about reaffirming our shared commitment to making a lasting impact on the communities we live in to inspire hope. First, I'd like to acknowledge a few people who make everything we do possible: to our leadership team, our dedicated staff, volunteers, and fellow board members. Your tireless efforts ensure we can continue moving forward and not only meeting the needs of those we serve, but also looking to see how Progress Valley can do more. And of course, a heartfelt thank you to every single one of you for being here today. Lisa, you always put on a great program, so thank you. This being my last year on the Progress Valley Board of Directors, I reflect on the past 9 years and I'm amazed by how so much has changed. Significant achievements have been reached, and while there have been many challenges, COVID, just one of those, through it all, this organization continues to raise the bar on services, consider how we can do more, and always with an eye to how we can serve those who come to Progress Valley best. The following are just some of the many changes we've seen in the last 9 years. Our leadership team has grown. Jared joined as executive director about 8 years ago and is now our chief executive officer. Chris Tout joined a few years ago and has risen from Finance Director to Chief Financial Officer. And of course, Amber Michalski joined us over 7 years ago and has risen from Program Manager to Chief Operating Officer. Under their leadership, we have more than doubled our revenue and total number of staff, significantly increased the number of clients we serve in our programs, created an outpatient program with a robust continuum of services. We've opened mental health clinics, purchased 4 buildings to expand housing options, and expanded into the North Metro. Congratulations. Certainly, even more has changed, but this is a great list and exciting opportunities for Progress Valley lay ahead. It has truly been a pleasure being on the board. I have learned so much over the years. Learning how trauma and addiction often go hand in hand has given me much more empathy for those among us who are suffering, together with their families and friends who also play a heavy toll. As I've always said, I don't think there's one among us who isn't affected in some way by addiction. As our services evolve, our mission remains the same: to provide an individualized continuum of treatment and recovering services that fosters quality of life through behavioral health, purpose, and meaningful activity. At the end of the day, the work at Progress Valley makes a real difference in the community, and I'm extremely proud to be a very small part of it. Today, you'll hear stories that will give you an idea of why this work is so important. They're inspiring stories and ones we hope you think about and remember. We hope that if you have anyone in your life that may need support, that you think about Progress Valley and the truly meaningful work that is happening here. Most importantly, we hope that this morning inspires hope. If you have someone in your life that needs help, we ask that you reach out to Progress Valley or a similar organization. Help is out there. The stories you will hear represent the countless people who are struggling right now, even as we sit here at this breakfast. We hope that by the end of this breakfast, you are inspired and want to know more. While much has been accomplished at Progress Valley, there's still much work to be done. The need is great, and we cannot do it alone. Funding for programs like those we provide is becoming harder to achieve. That's why I'm asking you today to support, to learn more, and to invest in the future of this organization. Every contribution, no matter the size, brings us one step closer to making a larger and more meaningful impact. Thank you again for being here, for learning about and believing in our mission, and for your support. Together, we are building on over 50 years of positively impacting communities. Next up, we will be playing a video which will provide an overview of Progress Valley and the services we provide. Once complete, there will be a short pause so you can continue to enjoy breakfast and talk with the people at the table before we meet our first speaker. Thank you.
So PV has grown a lot in the last 5 to 10 years especially, and some of the things we've really been committed to is expanding our continuum of care so we can reach more people with our services and serve the people that we have most effectively. We recognize the vast majority of people that we serve have co-occurring mental health concerns or diagnoses, as well as family difficulties, often housing instability, career and educational difficulties. We've really committed to designing services that are easily accessible, a continuum of care that people can enter into at different points depending on their needs, and can meet the needs of people with both mental health, substance use, and co-occurring conditions. Some of the service principles and the way that we do this is first and foremost to understand that we're working with many different individuals and to personalize their care accordingly. We want to get to know the people we work with, do proper assessment, and understand what their desires are and what their needs are from a clinical standpoint. We treat people with care, dignity, and respect. We understand that a lot of the people we sit with are really struggling or lacking in hope. Our goal is to help increase hope, motivation for change if needed, and to give people the tools that they need to live out these changes in their life. It's also important to us to understand what's important to the people we serve and to empower them through purpose, choice, and action to make decisions in their life and improve the quality of life. One of the biggest changes that we've had at Progress Valley since 2018 is the development of our outpatient services. This has really met a need for many people. As we've seen, we've grown and we've opened a new location in Roseville this year. Now we have Roseville and Bloomington. Our lodging programs are part of our outpatient with lodging, and it's a unique model of care where people can receive outpatient treatment and also have 24-hour support from staff in one of our lodging locations. Although they're gender specific, we serve and welcome all gender expressions at Progress Valley. Our Progress Valley 1 location in Minneapolis serves male and transgender clients, and our PV3 location in Richfield serves female and transgender clients in a location they'd be most comfortable.
All right. Go ahead and socialize, network, and eat some breakfast. And then we'll be back in 5 minutes with our first alumni speaker. Okay, I'm gonna welcome everybody back. Me again. Love to hear all the conversation happening. This is great. All right. This is the last time you'll hear from me, I promise. I'm very, very, very excited to present and introduce our first alumni speaker, Jamie Stever, who is a good friend of mine and colleague. Jamie Stever is a person in long-term recovery. Her clean date is August 1st, 2017. And after using drugs and alcohol for 23 years, and at the age of 37, with the help of Progress Valley and Washington County Corrections, she was able to find a better way to live. She's so grateful. Today, she lives a life filled with purpose, joy, and happiness. She's married to someone who is also in recovery. She has 2 beautiful daughters that never gave up on her, and a stepson that she was just so proud of. PV has been a huge part of her life, not only as a client, but also as a staff member for the last 6 years. She loves her job and finds so much meaning and purpose working with others who are trying to find a better way to live. So welcome, Jamie Stever.
Thank you, Michaela. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. This is my beautiful hometown of Bloomington. Like Michaela said, my name is Jamie Stever. I am a person in long-term recovery, and my clean date is August 1st, 2017. After using drugs and alcohol for 23 years and at the age of 37, from the help of Washington County Corrections in Progress Valley, I was able to find a better way to live. Growing up, I had 2 loving parents. They did get divorced when I was 3. I saw my dad on a very regular basis. My mother, the most sweetest, caring, loving woman you'd ever meet, I'm her only child. My stepdad came into my life when I was 8, and he's been in my life ever since. I did average in school. I had friends. I was a competitive figure skater until I was 14. I had horses. I had friends. I had all the things. But ever since I was a little girl, I can remember the feeling of emptiness and loneliness. And being an only child, you're often alone, and it can be lonely. Like I said, my mom was a wonderful mother, but there were three things she was not good at doing: giving me responsibility, holding me accountable, and telling me no. And as I got older, I do believe this created a lot of issues in the relationship between my mom and my stepdad. And they were often on and off throughout the years. Going into seventh grade, they split up and we moved here to Bloomington. It was great. This is where my mom went to high school, my grandparents lived, and my family members. But when I was 14, I started experiencing with drugs and alcohol. And I quickly figured out that when I was intoxicated, that feeling, the fuzzy, warm feeling, I felt so good. That emptiness that I felt was gone. And that is when the relationship with drugs and alcohol really began for me. My first inpatient was at Hazelton when I was 16, and I would go through 6 more treatment stays over the next 22 years. And I did have short periods of sobriety during that time, but it never lasted. In my 20s, it was alcohol and cocaine, and in my 30s, it was methamphetamine. And as soon as I started doing methamphetamine, it took everything from me. Now, fast forward 22 years, I've been using meth daily, IV, for 6 years. I'm living back with my parents, with my youngest daughter, Ashley. Can't hold a job. We're basically raising her at this point. My oldest daughter, Cameron, really didn't like me at this point, and she really didn't want to have much to do with me. I hadn't been raising her for the last 6 years. Her stepdad, or her dad and her stepmom were. I couldn't get my act together for her. I missed out on everything. I couldn't be there for her when she was sick. I couldn't get her ready for school in the morning. And when I did show up for events, I was always late, or I wouldn't show up at all. And even though it was probably still better than being with me, being with her dad or stepmom still wasn't good. Because not only was I her mother an addict and alcoholic, so was her dad. And when he drank, he was so angry, he was so volatile, you had no idea what he was going to do. And her stepmom, who I'm so thankful for, had her own mental health struggles and issues, and so there was a lot of chaos in the house. Cameron didn't get to have a peaceful childhood. Cameron didn't get to grow up feeling safe. All 3 of her parents were completely unpredictable, and she didn't know what to expect next. Now, just a warning, this could be a little triggering as part of my story. It's a little heavy, but it is an important piece, and so I wanted to share it with you today. In June of 2016, the man I've been in a relationship with for the last 2 years, he the living daylights out of me. And no, it wasn't the first time, it was one of many, but it was definitely the worst. It was the scariest day of my life. I still, to this day, have never ever felt the fear that I felt that day. It started outside. Thank God someone saw it happening, so the police were called pretty quickly. He punched me, knocked me out. When I came to, I thought the best thing to do was to run inside, because I knew his dad was in the house. I thought I'd be protected. So I ran inside, sat down next to his dad on the couch, and had to stop for protection. Instead of protection, he looks at me and he says, "You should have kept your mouth shut." And in that moment, I feared for my life. And I knew that what was about to happen was going to be bad. So I locked myself in the bathroom. He came in after me. And even with the house surrounded by police, he wouldn't let me out. They had come in with force. And it was intense. It was a lot. I was hospitalized for 3 days. I had concussion, 2 black eyes, broken nose, 5 broken ribs, punctured lung, internal bleeding, and a chest tube. I was in the hospital. This is where my parents were at this point. When I called to tell them I was in the hospital because he had picked me up again, their response was, "Let me know when you're getting released." That's where they were. That's where they were. The only person that came to visit me in the hospital was a detective. I had no clue. Physically recovering from all my injuries was painful. I broken ribs, it's horrendous. Couldn't pick up Ashlyn, who was 4 at the time. I couldn't pick her up for like 6 weeks. Couldn't do anything. But I did make it through, and I did physically recover. But when it came to emotional healing, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I couldn't face it. And my parents were starting to get on me. When are you going to get help? You need to talk to someone, not just for the abuse that I had gone through for the last 2 years, but for my use. I stayed sober for about 2 months, then I was right back at it. At this point, though, I was just to get through the day, maybe half a gram to a gram a day, and I was absolutely miserable. And for the next 12 months, I would just exist. I refused to get any kind of help for the abuse I'd gone through for those 2 years, and I was in the deepest, darkest depression I've ever been in my life. The despair I felt was so great, and for the first time in my life, I could not pick myself back up. I'd been to treatment 6 times before. I put myself in every single one of those treatments. I completed them successfully, and I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even ask for help, even though it was all around. Probation was getting tired of me. I kept violating over and over and over again because I couldn't provide clean UAs. And in August of 2017, they finally locked me up. And this was the best thing that ever happened. The best thing. Finally, someone was truly holding me accountable, and they were saving my life at the same time. On day 2, sitting in jail, I realized that not only was I letting everyone down once again by being in jail, but I was supposed to be bringing Cameron to her first concert. It was something we looked forward to for so long. And I got her down again. And she will remember this forever. So for the first time in a long time, I spoke to God with an open and honest heart. And I asked for his forgiveness, and I asked for his help. I wanted to be free, and I wanted to stop hurting the people that I loved the most, and the 2 people that needed me the most, my girls. I told God that I was going to accept whatever help he was going to send me, whether that was prison, county, sitting in county, or going to treatment. I was going to do it. 2 days later, God answered. Lady by the name Tammy Schmitz came down to talk to me from probation. She offered me a spot in the Washington County Offender Recovery Program, which is their drug court program. 14 to 24 month program, we'd have a state of adjudication, and I wouldn't be going to prison. And I said, yes, this is what I want to do. And I said, I've been talking to this lady named Kim Miller Marks at Progress. Because I had been trying to get into treatment. She had my assessment. And I said, that's where I want to go. It's a 90-day step-down program. It's exactly what I need. I need 90 days, and I need to start to learn how to live off the real world while having the protection of treatment in place. She said, okay, let's see what I can do. A couple days later, I had my phone interview with Kim, and she told me I was approved. And I begged her, can I please come tomorrow? Can I please come tomorrow? She gave me a little chuckle, and she said, well, that's not how this works. We have a wait list. We'll get you in as soon as we can. 6 days later, I was heard of the Progress staff. When I got to PV, everyone was so warm and welcoming, and I had this great sense that these people knew what they were doing. You know, you ever get somewhere and you're like, this is who's going to take care of me? It wasn't like that. I felt so comfortable, and right away I felt so supported. The groups were amazing, a lot of information I had not heard before, and a lot of information I had heard before, but this time, I heard it differently. It was starting to click. The trauma and process groups would allow me to start sharing in a safe space, and I quickly learned I was not alone. The support and sense of connection I felt from the other women I was in treatment with was something I had not felt before. I needed those women so much in my life at that time, and they needed me. I needed the love and the support from other women in my life, and I didn't know that I needed it. We had schedules and responsibilities. We had house chores. It was expected that your bed would be made every day and your room was clean. We had restrictions back in those days.
If you didn't follow the rules, your phone would be taken away for 24 hours or even longer. Couldn't take your free time passes. And if there was enough of us that hadn't followed the rules, the entire house would be on restriction. It taught us to be accountable for ourselves and to others, and to be respectful of others. Once you got your junior and senior year, you could leave on pass for a number of hours during the day. I would go and spend the time with my kids and my parents. I was able to bring Ashlyn to her first day of kindergarten while I was still at treatment. It meant so much to me and to her. You could get a job and start working while in treatment and attend evening groups. It was fantastic to be able to get out, to be able to have a safety net of treatment while getting out to the real world again and practice being productive. My treatment job was Salvation Army. We had so much fun. We had fun Fridays with Mona once a month. We had the PD car washes to raise money, and we would compete against the boys program to see who would raise the most. We went to the Science Museum, and I will never, ever forget that night. I had so much fun. So much fun. I will never forget it. Now came the time to graduate PB and start drug court and go to sober housing. I could not be in PB sober housing because I had to be in Washington County. At that time, there was only 2 women in sober homes in the area of Washington County that I was in, and they were both full. We didn't know if I was going to. Last minute, we found a new sober home that had opened in Hopedale, and I said, I'll take it. It's right next to Whittier, it's right by my parents, this is going to be great. When I got there, let me tell you, there was no one besides God himself who could have orchestrated this any better. Because not only was I 3 miles away from my parents, the house was literally across the street from Ashland's elementary school where she just started kindergarten. The room I got to pick, that bedroom window of mine, looked over the marsh and right to her school. I mean, like, again, God's good. It was amazing. I got a job at Carrot Coffee, making $9.50 an hour. Loved it. Loved it. I was the opener, so I'd be there at 4:30 in the morning. It was great. And that job really gave me the confidence back to, teach me that I can show up every single day and I can do the job and just get it done. I was also doing Progress Valley's aftercare program. This was before outpatient was a thing. It was at 8 or 12 weeks, Amber. You remember? It was 12 weeks. I continued that as well, and it was great. I had never done aftercare before. I'd always finished treatment and never went. So that was something new too. Like I said, I started drug work. It was super intense. I don't know what other drug courts are like. I only know Washington counties. For the first 30 days, I was on ankle monitor. I had to turn in a weekly schedule to my PO on Sundays, and I had to follow that schedule. Otherwise, the ankle monitor would tell them otherwise. UAs were 3 to 4 times a week for many months. I attended PD's aftercare program. I met with probation and our ORP team every other week. We met with the judges every other month. I started weekly therapy, and at a certain point, I started doing EMDR therapy for the PTSD and nightmares from the abuse I had endured, and it was a life changer. EMDR, if you have not tried it, I highly suggest you do it. I attended NA 3 times per week. I was thriving. It was a lot of work, and it was not easy. But I needed that accountability, and it changed everything for me. I didn't see my PO as an authority figure. I changed it up because she became my life coach. The whole team became my life coach. They were lights, they were just shining lights of hope for me. After that, everything just continued to fall into place. My life would just continue to improve, and a lot of things changed. A lot of things happened for me in a very short period of time. My self-respect, self-worth, and confidence was coming back. I was seeing the beauty in life again, and I had faith that if I put in the work, good things would happen. I was starting to accept love, and I was able to give love to others. My relationship with Cameron was improving. I was starting to see her on a somewhat regular schedule, and we were starting to build a relationship. And I got to bring her to that concert a year later. I did. I was rebuilding my relationship with my parents and learning how to navigate co-parenting with them while learning how to have healthy boundaries and still focus on myself. I was going to meetings regularly, had a good connection with the recovery community, and met someone in recovery that I started dating. His name is Adam. And no, I do not recommend you start dating other members in early recovery, but it did work out for us. But it did work out for us, so we started dating. A year later, I moved out to Silver Housing. We got our own place together. Ashlyn was with us. Then we got engaged. Then in 2019, we got married. I started working here at Progress Valley as a part-time CD tech. I quickly became the lead tech at our Bloomington. It was our all-women's program at that time. Absolutely fell in love with the position and immediately knew right away that this is where I wanted to be. Then the one thing that I wanted for so long happened. Cameron came to live with us. And that in itself is a bit of a story that I don't want to get into today, but it was due to unfortunate circumstances that for God's family. But again, it was like God was speaking to me. He was telling me, you're ready. It's your time. You're ready to be her mom again. And that's it. I was then quickly reminded, because I had all these, ideas of how great this was going to be. I was so excited she was with us. She quickly reminded me it was not going to be all sunshine every day. I had to prove to her for a long time that I wasn't going back to that old life and that she could trust me. And let alone, being married for the first time in a healthy relationship with the little one, now with Cameron coming along, the whole family dynamic, it's a lot of, it was a lot of changes, but we made it through. I graduated ORP, I got out for probation. Adam and I purchased our first home, and PD has been by my side for all of it. Working at PD has given me the opportunity to grow and challenge myself professionally and succeed at doing it. And as the years went on, PD has continued to trust me and allow me to have a voice within the organization, bring ideas to the table, and make great big decisions. I've continued to work my way up the PD ladder from part-time tech to lead tech, to housing manager, to now director of facilities and housing, where I oversee all 8 of our properties and buildings, as well as continuing to get to work with the clients as the men's housing coordinator. My experience at PD has been absolutely amazing over the last 6 years as a staff member. I feel such a great sense of purpose and meaning working here at PD and helping others. So that's all I want to do. I just want to be that person to help and support others like those people did for me. Because I know that I could not have done it alone. Absolutely not. I love coming to work every day. It does not feel like work to me. My husband says I don't want to go to work today. I'm like, what? You're crazy. PD means so much to me in so many ways. I can't really express in words what PD means to me. To me, it's hope, faith, resilience. It's like a second home to me. Because in my eyes, I was gone for like a year and a half. It's sober living, but to me, I feel like I've just been at PD for 8 years now. And I love it. I love all the staff members. I'm like the one jumping around from building to building, like, hey guys, what's going on? What's everybody doing? Like, that's me. And the clients, they give me my accountability today. They really, really do. Because how can I say anything to them if I'm not going to practice myself? And working with the men has been such an amazing experience for me. At first I was a little nervous and I decided somewhere along the road that, my own healing path. But I thought working with men was probably a really good idea. And it has been, and I've really enjoyed working as the men's housing coordinator and working with all of the clients, but especially the men. The life I have today is everything that I've ever wanted. I am free, and that feeling of emptiness is gone. I'm self-fulfilled. I have a loving, caring, supportive husband who loves Ashley like his own and is a wonderful dad to her. Our marriage isn't perfect, no one's is, and he annoys me every day, but I love you so much. I have a great relationship with my parents. Unfortunately, my mother's health is failing due to Huntington's disease, which was the neurodegenerative disorder. But because I'm healthy and sober today, I'm able to be there for my stepdad and for my mom. If my mom was healthy, I just want to share this, but if my mom, because I got better, my mom got sick. And my mom would be our biggest cheerleader, you guys. She would be at all of our TV events. She would be at our picnics. She would be here today. It's been tough. And that is one of the biggest things that I regret, is that I lost 22 years, the good 22 years I could have had with my mom. I had all these ideas once I got clean and sober that we were going to go on vacations with the kids, and we were going to get to do all these things, and that is not the case. She's very sick. All right, I have loving relationships with both my daughters. I'm present in both of their lives, and I just get to be their mom. My daughter Cameron is here with us today. Cameron, you're my first true love. You are everything to me. I'm so proud of the young woman that you are becoming. And thank you for never giving up on me. I love you to the moon and back. I have a 24-year-old stepson who I'm so proud of. He's finding his own way in the world and doing a good job because, like I said, my husband's in recovery too. So he's also been through it. I have a wonderful small group of friends and a great support system. Many who I've met here at Harvest Valley. I've learned to challenge myself and get involved when my life starts to feel a bit mundane, being a key manager for Ashton's soccer team, and I also serve as a member on the Washington County Opioid Settlement Council. What is that, you ask? The council members provide leadership and guidance on Washington County's opioid settlement spending. Washington County and other local governments across Minnesota received funding from the National Opioid Settlements on a payment schedule that began in 2022 and will continue through 2030. Washington County was awarded $12 million. We are just starting on our second round of applicants with a grand amount of $700,000. It's been pretty neat to be a part of it. And I'm so grateful to be able to give back to Washington County and again be a part of something greater than myself, help the community that helped me. The room that council meets in is the same room we met in every other week we go for. So it's just another reminder of where I came from and where I'm going. And I just want to thank all of you again for being here with us this morning. The last few words that I have are, don't ever give up. Doesn't matter how many times you've been in treatment, how you got to treatment, it's on your own, or you're forced here because of legal reasons. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It's what's your choice going to be once you get here? What decisions are you going to make? Greatest piece of advice that I heard when I was in drug court was trust the process. And I think I heard it before, but again, things were hitting differently this go around. And that's what I have to say today is trust the process. Trust others. Be honest with yourself and let other people help you and support you, and you put in the work, and anything is possible. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Who's the lucky winner that gets to try to follow that? That's neat. All right. That's a tough act to follow. I'm not even going to try to compete with that. So maybe think of my job as the person who's going to come and splash a little cool water on your emotional state here before the next one. Let you cool off and regroup a little bit. Wow, okay. Well, there it is. That's why we do what we do right there. That says it well. So our speakers are obviously the main event here today. We've grown a lot. For a long time, we serve hundreds of people in our programs every year. We're well over 1,000 people today, and we're growing very quickly. So one of the things that means is that's thousands of stories. All right, everyone's got a different story, but I mean that's thousands of families, communities, people impacted by the work we do, and that's why we do it. I'm Jerry Boostrom, I'm the CEO at Progress Valley, coming up on 8 years in January. Thank you so much for being here. It's just really a pleasure to have people coming out and supporting us and hearing more about what we do. My job, I'm just going to talk a little bit about both some challenges that we face in the industry and at PV, and also some victories that we've had. We've had an abundance of both in recent years. So, just out of curiosity for me, if you're somebody who gets a choice between getting bad news first, good news first, or it depends, I'm curious how we fall here. So, those are the three options. So, quick show of hands if you like bad news first. Oh, wow, okay. That would be a little more split. How about good news first? Whoa, all right. Depends. All right, I wasn't expecting that. Wow. I'm definitely a bad news first kind of person, so ask anyone who works for me. So we'll go with that, but also that's the clear majority here. So, okay, I'll just touch on a few challenges and victories here, but in case you haven't followed, I won't bore you with all the details, but it has been a wild ride in the substance use industry here. So we've been under reform since 2016. We had some very significant changes happen starting in 2018, and we've really rebuilt most aspects of our care, how we do treatment in the state of Minnesota. So it's been a ton of change in a very short amount of time. A lot of them have been good, to be clear. We really support a lot of the changes, but it has been a lot. And as usual, the devil's in the details. So it's hard to make such large systemic change and think of everything, get everything just right. So it's been a little bit rocky at times. Some of the changes are not ones that we would have chosen, but did impact us a lot. So that's meant for providers, and especially PV, a lot of serious service adaptations, looking ahead at the unknown and trying to anticipate what's going to happen with new regulations and client needs and demands and all these things. And we have invested a lot of money to do that in recent years, which fortunately we were able to do, but they were mostly unfunded mandates, so we weren't getting money or rates or anything increased to do that. So it's been a tough year of kind of looking ahead, recognizing we need to make these changes and trying to execute on that and tread water and make it through. The second is workforce challenges. So we're going to recognize our staff here today. Our services are only as good as the staff members who provide them. We're so fortunate here, but it's hard times in the field, and this is impacting providers and of course clients, people who need treatment. So this is incredibly meaningful work. We're so fortunate to be able to do it. It's also demanding, though it's hard. And so we have a well-established workforce shortage in substance use treatment in Minnesota. We've got fewer people entering into the field. We've got people leaving the field. The average career is not all that long. So a little bit of data to illustrate that. In a recent survey of 620 substance use treatment workers in Minnesota, over 50%, 50.2%, of respondents said that in the last 12 months they've considered leaving the substance use field. Of that 50%, 25% said they are planning to leave in the next 12 months. I don't know how this data compares to other industries, but it seems high to me. That's half of our workforce in jeopardy of possibly not being here doing this work next year. That's concerning. There was different reasons cited, but caseload and program needs, paperwork demands, not enough staff or inexperienced staff, and client acuity. Drugs are getting stronger, people are getting sicker and dealing with more things, and we're less equipped to do it. The third challenge I'll touch on is rate insufficiency and economic factors. You've heard it said that money doesn't buy happiness. I expect that is also true for job satisfaction. But money sure can buy some things that help, like talented and compassionate staff, proper staffing ratios for our programs, leaders who have time to invest in and develop our staff members, especially new ones, nice facilities and food for our clients and our residents, nice benefits for our staff. The vast majority of people we serve at Progress Valley are on Medicaid. So one of the things that means is that the rates are determined by a legislative process. So we don't get to negotiate rates with insurance companies or anything. So we're limited in what we can do about that. And resources are finite, and everybody wants more money, and most people can make a pretty compelling case as to why they need it. So it's been tough. So we have lobbying efforts through our trade organization. We're active in that. We testified at the House of Representatives for bills and all those things, but we're limited in what we can do there. So just to illustrate a little bit of what providers are dealing with on this, in 2023, DHS was ordered to do an independent rate study on the substance use field. They did that. It's nuanced because they looked at it by every single service line, but to give you an idea that the average shortfall of rates to look at what we're expected to provide for care and what we get was 67.9% low. I'm not talking about 5 or 10% here. So despite those compelling findings, we were cut out of a 3% rate increase in 2023. In 2024, we got a 3% but for residential only. Fortunately, in 2025, we got another rate increase, but it's only for a small amount of service lines that were by far the lowest in the rate study. To be clear, we are grateful and happy for any rate increase we get. We will take it. So that's great. But imagine the difficulties of operating a business when your expenses, almost without exception, every one is going up every year. In some cases, 10, 15%, 20%. Our health insurance is famous for that. 25 to 40% quotes sometimes we get for renewal. And your rates aren't going up. So every single year you're becoming less viable unless you are growing and making that up through volume or getting rate increases. And if you're not getting that, you're in a very tough spot. So this is something that has been a big challenge for us. We do have some strong positives on this also, which I'll touch on. But the final illustration here of the challenges we're facing in the field. Since 2022, there have been well over 100 closures of substance use programs in Minnesota, and a net reduction of 47 programs. We've had some new ones open. 7 of those were over 40 years old. That's the Progress Valley, over 50 years old. More than 40% of those happened outside of the metro area. So outstate was disproportionately impacted by this. That doesn't impact us directly, but we are working on developing an online virtual outpatient program. Hopes to serve people more conveniently, but also people who are maybe outside of the metro who need help. So this is tough conditions. There's a long-standing statistic through SAMHSA. Maybe you've heard that this is for a long time. It's hovered right around this 10%. That in any given year, only 10% of people who need substance use treatment get it. So we've known that for a long time. We need to access people more. More people need our help. What can we do about that? And the conditions are harder than ever to do it, frankly. On to victories. It's not all tough news, don't worry. We have a lot here. So we have really committed to standing up and fighting and pushing through, and in the face of uncertainty, not shrinking back and cutting things back, but to just aggressively move forward with our mission and our vision in mind, the clients we serve, and to do this. We have not taken this sitting down. So that's been our goal. And we've had a lot of exciting stuff happen. So in 2023, we recognized that with some of these significant changes in the industry, especially to residential care, which was our main service line, we needed a new strategic plan. So 2023, we created that. 2024 is a year of execution, pretty consuming year on that. 2025, our hope was to stabilize these new services and hopefully start enjoying some of the fruit of all the stuff that we did. And fortunately, we have. So coming into this year, about 7 out of 9 of our major service lines were significantly different than years past. 4 out of 9 were completely new or totally redesigned. Estimating all that just right in the budget, not easy to do, right? So we were worried about that. And we had positions and we had stuff we wanted to invest in our mission, so obviously we wanted to do the best we could. financially. And I'm really proud, so proud to say of this. Our team has been fantastic. You know, things have come together, and we're even better than we budgeted so far year to date through August. We even actually budgeted for a small operating loss still, which will be a small surplus by the end of the year. Through August, we're at a small surplus already. So we're just so thankful that happened. It's allowed us to keep doing what we're doing and to keep moving forward with the plans that we have rather than having to adapt to more problems. So a few examples of new things that we've done in the last year. Our PV3 location in Richfield is an outpatient with lodging for women. It's now open. We had this model in 2022 in Minneapolis for men, and it's been fantastic. Now we have it for people of all genders. It was a long time. It was a long wait, even though it wasn't a super long time. Just to see us not have that level of care for women and recognize the need was tough for us to sit with. So that was a huge victory. As of yesterday, we had 56 of these lodging beds for outpatient with lodging between these programs, and they were 95% full as of yesterday. So it's just, yeah, thank you. Some of us look at that every single day, obviously. So try to course correct quickly and see if things are, what's needed there. But so that's a big one. We finished our construction in Bloomington. So we did renovations of our building down there. We increased our residential capacity from 32 to 48 beds and equipped the facility to serve people of all genders. We also remodeled the outpatient side of the building to create more space for growth. We expanded our footprint to the north. So this was a big initiative on our strategic plan. The first one, before we reworked it with the stuff that came up. But we kept that. We really wanted to move outside of the South Metro and start to bring our services to other parts of the area. And that's been fantastic. So we opened that program last year. We've got an outpatient substance use continuum treatment there. We've got a mental health clinic. We do assessments for substance use and mental health. Same kind of services that we offer at our mental health clinic in Bloomington. So I just want to also say I'm really grateful for the long history we've had at PB, and I'm standing on the shoulders of many people before us here. We've had leaders, we've had employees, we've had people that have navigated very tough times in the past too. And I am so thankful that we had things like equity in our buildings, access to credit and banking relationships, and invested assets, which we had thanks to donations of people to Progress Valley as a nonprofit that we invested and grew, and we used all those things in the last couple of years. And that, I'm sure, is one of the big differences between places like Progress Valley and the well over 100 places who had to close their doors, who couldn't make it paycheck to paycheck because they didn't have those resources. So we don't take it for granted that we're still here. During tough times, we're doing what we do, and I'm just really grateful for that. I also want to recognize our staff. I touched on this, but despite all the challenges that I talked about, certainly we face them. We're not immune to it, but we have fared better than most any other organizations that I'm in contact with. I work closely with a lot of other leaders, and this has not been as big of a problem for us as others, which is fantastic. There's just a certain level of desperation when you can't get enough staff, you can't get talented enough staff, you have nothing. You can't keep services up, you're not serving your clients well. It's everything. So I'm really excited about the leadership team we have too right now. Erica touched on that. When I came to Progress Valley, I remember my first leadership meeting was probably 8 people around that table. We're 20 people today. So we've grown a lot, and we've also brought in some fantastic people. So we've created a lot of opportunity for advancement. We've had a lot of internal people moving up the ranks, and we've brought in some outside talent too that's been exactly what we needed in certain areas. It's really helped us. So that keeps us really well positioned also for the future. Third is what we've done in the face of the rate challenges and the economic conditions. Again, if rates are staying the same volume as what we need to do. Fortunately for us, we're growth-minded anyway. If we're wanting to grow, we're wanting to expand, that's how we think and operate. We'd be doing it anyway. It also helps that that's exactly what we need to do to stay viable. So we've had continued growth, and we're still investing in that. It's gone very well. So it's kind of a simple observation I've had in over 20 years in behavioral health is healthy companies grow. Places that are meeting needs, providing good services, you grow almost by default. Of course, you want to be intentional about that. I think the opposite is true. It takes a lot more for an unhealthy organization to grow. It's not impossible, but so it's been very affirming to see this. We had the privilege of being on an AM radio show a couple weeks ago. So check it out if you want. It's on our social media. But our COO, Amber Mikulski, talked about this briefly and said, we are doing something right because we have a lot of people coming back. When clients need help, they're choosing us. They're coming back. And we have staff members coming back. We have a lot of people coming back. And that's really affirming, with the challenges out there today. So we're doing something right. The last part I want to touch on is just the reason why we do this at all. I mean, obviously we need financial health and we need all these things to be able to do it, but it's just to serve people. We've continually grown our service offerings. We have more alumni. We've increased our response rate on alumni surveys. We get really good data from that, which helps us shape our services and stay in contact with alumni. As an organizational leader, of course, it's not just serving clients. For me, I want to keep our staff members working. I want to create jobs, not cut jobs. I want to open new programs, not close programs. And we've been able to do that. So I just want to thank everybody who's made that possible for us. And I will thank people more specifically here too. But the final thing I'll say on this is that this is a pro and a con. We have been fortunate to, unlike some nonprofits, not be completely reliant on grants and fundraising. And our goal has been to be self-sustaining through our program revenue. We've worked really, really hard at that, and we've done a really good job. Unfortunately, with some of the conditions I've talked about, we recognize that we need to increase our outreach, our marketing, our fundraising, our development. So we're investing in that. We're putting some more person power to that. We're coming up with plans to do it, but it's kind of a new chapter for us, recognizing that this needs to be a bigger part of our total financial health and our revenue picture. So we're also, there will be some opportunities if people have any ideas about maybe how to help Progress Valley in that. So you will have a chance to give today. That'll be part of this program. And I just want you to know that if you choose to do that, this will be money well spent. We use this directly to save and change lives and invest, positively in the people that we're serving. And we know what to do with it. We have good plans. We've been successful in this. So we're, again, really confident and really fortunate to be where we are. Okay, I do want to acknowledge some people here. So there's a lot of people. I'll move through this a little bit quickly, but first I want to recognize we do 3-year board terms. We have a board of directors. We have 9 right now. Successful, busy career people who volunteer their time to help lead Progress Valley. We've got 2 people who are completing their final terms, so 9 years with Progress Valley. So first, if you want to just give you Erica Miller. Yeah, she already spoke, so you know. So Erica's one. These are the only 2 board members that preceded me too, which is kind of interesting. Time flies, but Erica she's done a lot. So she helped us purchase 4 buildings. Commercial real estate background, and that's one of the things we've done in recent years is purchase 4 buildings for our housing to expand our housing services. She's provided leadership and experience to our board, especially in the later years of her terms. And she has served on every single board subcommittee that we have. And she's held most offices. She's been our president, our vice president, and our treasurer. So yeah, she's stepped up. So let's give Erica a round of applause for her service. Thank you. All right, and our other here is Jeff Mertens. Jeff, give a wave. All right. So Jeff is our finance and facilities expert. Has done a variety of things. He was with Opus at one point in time, which if you're not aware, Opus actually founded Progress Valley in the early 1970s. It was Brown Horse Construction then, but we have a great partnership with them today. They've done our construction projects. So Jeff actually helped oversee the big one that we did in 2015, 2016. We renovated a couple of facilities there. He helped plan and oversee the renovations we did in Bloomington last year, and also helped us evaluate buildings when we were looking at them, interpreting inspection reports and all those things. Really came out and showed up with that and offered his expertise. So really appreciate all that Jeff has done. Round of applause for Jeff. Again, just want to thank all our board members. You, just like us, your job is harder when times are harder, we know that. So we're calling some special sessions, we're talking about new things, you're helping us make hard decisions, all those things. So we just appreciate you standing in there with us and, continuing to volunteer your time, to help Progress Valley and those that we serve. Our staff, again, make everything we do possible, so thanks to them. I want to thank our clients who have chosen Progress Valley as their provider and trusted us to serve them. We don't exist without our clients, so when help is needed, we hope people feel welcome to come back. We love what they do. We love hiring alumni. We've always got alumni working for us, so very exciting there. I want to thank our many vendors, partners, and friends in Progress Valley. Many of you are here today. We're really fortunate to have good business partners that take care of stuff for us so we can focus on what we do best. Some specifics on making today possible also. So I want to thank our sponsors, New Horizon, Old National, and AM/FM. Thank you so much, not only for the partnership that we have throughout the year, but for making this event possible today through your sponsorship. Our speakers, obviously, so grateful for people having the courage to stand up here and share their story and illustrate a small part of the work that we do at PV. All of our staff and people who made this possible, coming here early, setting up, especially want to recognize Lisa Alone and Kayla, who lead the charge on this. And thank you to all of you for taking time out of your day to be here. We really appreciate it. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our next speaker. So this is Joachim Stumm. Joachim has struggled his whole life with CPTSD, chronic post-traumatic stress disorder stemming from childhood abuse. He was doing a passable job, holding his life together until a traumatic event at age 44 triggered a rapid downward spiral of self-destruction that led him unemployed, penniless, homeless, addicted to drugs, and without hope. He reached out to Progress Valley in June of 2020 because he knew he needed help or he was going to die. PV very literally saved his life. They provided a roof over his head while the staff guided him to self-discovery and therapy that unlocked hope and self-respect, allowing him to leave behind addiction and self-defeating behavior. He's been clean and sober for over 5 years and has regained a career and independence. He will always be grateful to PV for the gift of his life and is happy to be in a place to give back to this wonderful program. Let's give a warm welcome to Joe.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Jamie. As I'm listening to Jamie talk, I'm thinking, that the order of her and my speaking should probably have been switched because I felt like my story can't be as powerful as that one, But that is the gift and the beauty of being associated with this program is that you are humbled and inspired all the time. Stories like Jamie's are around you, are in this room. And I'm just a client, went through the program in 2020 and then in their housing program thereafter for a couple of years. And I've been out of it and back in the community and back into my life for a while. And I felt, a real obligation, a real need to reach out and connect again and see if there was something that I could do to give back to this program that is as Jared said, I'm more nervous than I thought I would be. As Jared said, it's well, I forgot now. Fair enough. Okay. Well, let's get into my story. Childhood abuse. So we'll start with the big downer there. My mother died when I was very young, and my father was abusive. It was physical and mental abuse. My whole childhood, I spent a lot of that taking double abuse because I protected my younger sister a lot as well. The thing that does to a person, complex PTSD. PTSD, as we all probably know, it is, from a traumatic event like a school shooting or a car accident or something, where certain triggers will bring back a physical reaction to that event and you'll feel like you were there again. Complex PTSD stems from a series of traumas. And it's a little more insidious in that, especially in a child's brain, you develop ways of coping, behavior patterns and things that you do to survive, get by. And those things kind of serve you when you're a child, but they don't translate well to adult life and to being, responsible part of society. So you feel shame because what's going on at your house is something you can't share at school, you can't tell people about when you're at family events, you can't relate to anyone. Of course, depression, heavy depression, and you just feel like you're different from everyone else. And these mental things that impact you lead to, as I said, coping mechanisms. One of those is drug and alcohol abuse. So by 10 or 11 years old, I was drinking and using marijuana and smoking, and it makes you feel better for the moment, right? You feel accepted by the crowd that you're in that is also doing this kind of stuff. It's a way of escaping a little bit from an unpleasant reality. And it has a nasty habit of growing and growing and getting worse and worse. I went to college. Despite all the issues, I was still able to maintain a decent grade point average and get accepted to the University of Minnesota. I came here for college, but you know how if you have an indoor cat and they're always trying to escape whenever you come home, whenever you open the door, they're always trying to get out. And one day they get out and they run like heck to the middle of the lawn and then they freeze like, whoa, Now I'm outside, what do I do? That's how I was when I got out of that abusive home and went to college. I had no parental influence, no one to hold me accountable. Like Jamie said, accountability. I had none of that. I had no one to celebrate successes with. Just completely on my own, and I struggled. I was on the 7-year plan for an undergraduate degree, and I never did end up graduating. Eventually, the grants and the scholarship money runs out, and the school gets a little tired of constantly going into academic probation and then working my way out, constantly, changing majors, just no idea. I would really rather have majored in partying, which is what I did, to get by and to cope. I ended up getting a job. It was a temp job at a financial institution downtown Minneapolis. And to give myself some credit, I am talented. I am a hard worker. I do care about doing a good job, and the people there at that company saw that. It wasn't too long before I was hired on permanently, and then I tend to lead in groups of people, so they notice that, and all of a sudden I'm a team lead, and then I'm a manager. And then you're kind of off to the races. If you can manage, this type of work, then you can also apply those skills and manage this type of work. So I took off. I took off on a very successful career in finance. And I was doing really well. I was doing really well financially and everything else. But there were problems. There were problems that still remain from the CPTSD. I partied way too hard, and I lost relationships because they couldn't, they couldn't see what I was doing to myself. They couldn't stand by and watch. I lost friendships. I had plenty of mornings where I'd have to, call people and say, what did I say? What did I do last night? Or, not to mention the times waking up at home and then looking out in the driveway to make sure my car was there, that I had gotten myself home, just awful, to think that I had operated a car under those conditions, I was a mess. But I was still holding it together, I was doing a passable job. That changed. That changed in 2016. So I had managed to sort of blunder and fake my way through life till age 44. And, a traumatic event happened to me in my life. And I absolutely fell apart. As I said in the intro speech, I went on a spiral of self-destructive behavior. The drug abuse it went from weekend warrior to every day, all day. And I was staying up 3, 4, and 5 days in a row, again, still driving, also all that stuff. And then the money ran out, this went on for a couple of years, and then the money runs out, and then I started losing things, lost the place I was living, lose the car. I wrecked so many cars during this period, maybe 3 or 4 total accidents, total losses, some of which I fled the scene from, not hitting another car, but crashing my car and just leaving it. Awful stuff. But yeah, gradually losing everything around me, ending up in a storage unit with my household possessions. But I'm on the street, I'm on the street using, I weighed 130 pounds, I was 70 pounds less than what you see me today. Just a skeleton of a man. And trying to pay for that storage every month with money from where, it ended up not working, and I ended up losing my whole life. A man's entire life. Your high school yearbooks, I'm a person of a certain age, so I had photographs, actual shoe boxes full of photos, and all that stuff's gone, including, which will be significant later, my IDs. So passport, driver's license, birth certificate, social security card, all gone when my storage got auctioned off and I couldn't pay for it anymore. And then I'm really homeless. Then I was living in Loring Park during COVID and the George Floyd situations downtown. I was in the middle of that, kind of staying away from that stuff at night, and then roaming around during the day to various community centers and churches that offer meals. Like I said in my little blurb on the flyers, I was going to die, and I was really thinking about how to do it, how to just end it. And I decided to, one day just said, I really want I need help, I need help. So looked up Progress Valley, talked to Joe Black, after a little waiting period, I got in there, and I walked in there June 8th, 2020, and I walked in with this attitude: I will try absolutely anything that you've got. If you want me to stand on my head and chant, and burn sage, and I will try that. I will listen, and I'm an open book. I need some help. The beauty of a inpatient program is, how many people get an opportunity to walk away the world completely, take a 30, 60, 90-day break from life and career and all the pressures and just focus 100% on themselves. That is a gift, beyond gifts. The staff at Progress Valley was amazing, is amazing. They offered education, taught me things about mental illness, made me realize what was honestly going on with me, what this awful, thought patterns and behavior patterns that I felt were just reality, but they were, made me realize that these were literal thought patterns that my child brain had formed to help me cope, and that I didn't have to live like that anymore. I didn't have to think like that anymore. These things could be changed, and they could change right away, today. Drug abuse, the revelation that drug abuse was a symptom of my mental illness was staggering for me. I had a dream team there. I had a dream team. I will forever be grateful to my counselor, Matt, a therapist outside of Progress Valley that they helped me find. Between the two of them, they restored the first step that I needed, which was hope. Just the actual belief that things could change. I was in a state where I thought it was too late for me. I was older. I had success, but I had squandered it, and it was over, and I would never have it again. They restored the hope in me that that's not true, that you can start over. Another unimaginable gift of Progress Valley is the housing. I'll say what the story is with losing the IDs. I did as long as I could in the inpatient. I think they stretched me along for 90 days because they want you to work. And I wanted to work myself, but I couldn't, obviously, without any IDs. So it's, you can imagine during COVID, or any time really, just trying to get your identification back if you don't have any of it to start with is quite a challenge. And they stretched me along, I think, for as long as they could, but eventually, I went to county housing, GRH housing, which is, that much better than jail, But I still remained determined as I was working through all of this and kind of surrounded by addiction again, and people in various states of being serious about recovery. I had a roommate who used in the room, but I stuck to my belief that I was going to get out of this. And eventually I started to collect the IDs, At that point, I called Progress Valley, or I got a job. I got a temp job again at another financial institution, and called Progress Valley again saying, during this whole interim, I had still been attending outpatient because there was nothing else for me to do from when I got up to when I went to bed. So I wanted to stay connected to the program, so I was still doing that, still in touch with them. And when I finally got a job, I said, now I can pay for housing. Do you have an opening? And like I said, the housing program is another aspect of Progress Valley that's an unimaginable gift. It's affordable living, and yeah, you're working with another guy, and one of my first roommates right back there, Adam. It's 4 guys to a place, you got a fella in your bedroom, it's okay, it is what it is, But it's a gift because you get to focus on earning your way back, in that environment. It was fantastic. Forever grateful for that. A familiar pattern started to emerge then, which is that, my temp job, they liked what I was doing and they hired me on permanently. Shortly thereafter, made me a lead and then a manager again. So I've virtually restored the career that I had just with a different company. I have, my own place now. With my girlfriend that was over there, light of my life, met her in the program. So between me and Jamie, I guess it's highly discouraged, but this has been wonderful and just a super real inspiration for me. Today I stand before you. I have a life again that better than I dared to dream back then. If you had asked me, June 8th, 2020, if I would get anywhere get back to anywhere close to where I was, I would have said it was an impossibility. There's no way, no hope, but I was able to do it. I was able to do it, and Progress Valley was absolutely integral to that. I will always be grateful to them, and I'm so happy to be able to stand here today and to give back to this program that has meant so much for me and literally gave me my life back. Thank you.
All right, we're coming to the end. I know we've kept it a little longer than anticipated, but it was well worth it, don't you think? My name is Lisa Fratellone, and I'm the Director of Development here at Progress Valley. I've been with Progress Valley for about 12 and a half years. This is my favorite event. We've had a busy month, we've had a picnic, we've had a booth at the State Fair for Mental Health Awareness Day. We had the Walk for Recovery last Saturday. And here we are celebrating our successes, which I think is all worth it. So I'm going to keep this short. One thing that sticks out to me is you never know what someone's going through. Keep that in mind, show compassion to people, be kind, because you never know what someone is going through. So with that, I hope that you have been inspired today, that there is hope out there. So I ask you to consider making a donation to Progress Valley. Your donations will go a long ways. On the table tents and the programs is a QR code. You can click on that, scan it with your phone. You can make that payment with your credit card. We have envelopes on the table. We have forms being passed out. So please consider making a donation. Your gift saves lives. It truly does, as you've heard today. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
All right, we're going to be getting you on your way here very quickly, but again, I just want to thank all of you for being here today and just supporting PV. It means so much to us. In addition to the opportunity to give financially today or anytime throughout the year through our website, there's a lot of other ways that you can support and follow PV or spread the word about us. So I'll touch on a few of those. You can also reach out to us, Lisa and Michaela especially. You know, we have a range of volunteer options, simply spreading the word about us and what we do. We've seen a lot of that in recent years. We've upped our social media presence a lot. Michaela's done a fantastic job with that. And that's led to people coming out of the woodwork and contacting us and me and, you know, knowing what's going on at PV. So simply following us, liking us, commenting, interacting with us online, sharing it, stuff matters. You know, it gets more people involved in seeing what we're doing. We're always looking for corporate sponsorships. Been really fortunate to have those before. But if you know people or companies who may want to donate services or products for our auctions or our events, or just partner with us in some way, you know, please reach out, connect us with them. When it comes to outreach, fundraising, business partnerships, it's all about relationships. That's how we view it. So we're just trying to build more relationships, get more people involved, and through that, I'm sure we can find ways to, you know, include people in what we're doing at PV. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. So thank you again. Thank you so much to our speakers, our sponsors, especially for making this possible. And we hope to see you all next year. Thank you.